This week on episode 67 of the Odd Dad Out podcast, I am talking summer 2017, and man, has it started with a bang. We've got record heat waves across the US and Europe. Out here in Phoenix, we actually had planes left grounded at the airport from the heat. And it seriously is looking like all of this is frying some people's brain cells. This dumb crime is just ticking up like crazy. From shoplifters at Wal-Mart to hackers in the CIA, nobody really seems to be using their brains too much right now. And finally, in recommended listening, I've actually got another weird news show kind of like this that I've been turned on to, the Crazy Town podcast.
Beginning Odd Dad Out podcast in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Odd Dad Out podcast, where normal is not my specialty. I am your host, Adam, the Odd Dad Out, and this is the show where I share my twisted little views of things and fun little stories and weird-ass shit from the news that you may not have heard. And, of course, I wrap it all up with a featured podcast that I think you should listen to because I like sharing what I like. Yep, that's right. It's summer. It's officially summer now. The summer solstice, the longest day of the year, the first day of summer was last week. And so, yeah, it's officially summer. As opposed to all of the crazy, it's just hot, but it's technically not summer that we were technically in before. But, yeah. So, I'm sure you're sitting here, is he seriously going to be talking about the weather? Yes, I'm talking about the weather because the weather has been making fucking news. Because, especially in my case, because like I said, I live out in the Phoenix metro. So, it's fucking hot. This is one of the continually hottest places in the country. And, yeah, out here we get crazy stuff like, oh, it's 120 degrees outside. Now, to put into perspective, 120 degrees. For Phoenix, that's not that much hotter than normal. We don't even get a heat advisory here until you pass 110. Some people don't realize that's actually a temperature that the air can exist at. But, yeah, that's kind of the deal out here. It's summer in Arizona. If it's not 110, don't be crying. But that's kind of our limit. Like, once you pass 110, then you can complain. Before that, stop bitching you live in Phoenix. And I give people shit about that every year. It's like, especially the guys I work with, because they all seem to be a bunch of damn sissies about heat. My wife is a freaking Eskimo. She has no tolerance for heat. She'd live in a freaking igloo if she had the option. But, yeah, I don't understand anybody who's out here who lives in Phoenix and complains about the heat. My kind of adopted sister, old family friend, I saw a post she put up on Facebook, and it was just an Arizona flag. It says, if you can't take me at 120, you don't deserve me at 65. Kind of a big middle finger to all the snowbirds that come out here and like, oh, they come out and live out here in the winter where it's in the 60s, because their other home in the winter is in the zeros. Don't come out here and you're stealing half our good weather and you're clogging up my roads. Get the fuck out. Because you live in the desert. You're voluntarily living in the desert. So you have to understand that means it's gonna be fucking hot. The pavement's going to smolder. You should never go outside without shoes past March. But it has been a little extreme lately. I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, our heat wave right now has actually been making news. Just this last week, we actually had what I believe was actually a record set, because we had 4 straight days with temperatures over 115. Like, they were like between 115 and 120 for 4 days straight last week. Which, I'll admit, pretty hot. It is. It was I'm not going outside to mow the yard today because I think the lawnmower might explode. Or I don't think I'll be able to actually hold the handles on the lawnmower. Because I sacrificed my yard gloves for grill gloves because I use big log chunk charcoal and you have to kind of manually maneuver that. And charcoal's, it gets messy and, whatever. But yeah, 104 days between 115 and 120. People are literally making cookies on their dashboard. It's not a joke. People actually fucking do that because it gets that hot. You can actually put a big, like a tray of a cookie sheet with cookie dough on it, set it in your front windshield, like on the dash of your car. Like start your day, go to work, leave them there. You come back at the end of your workday, you got a tray of cookies. Fully cooked. Literally. Not a joke. People do shit like that out here because you can. Good old-fashioned frying an egg on the sidewalk. But it's been funny because we had this extended heat. Like things have been all over the news, like how the weather maps nearly ran out of colors. We're like, what the fuck do you mean run out of colors? You know how on the weather map it's got the gradient scale of colors to denote how hot, like the temperatures in different areas. Well, we're basically, we almost are white. The map is almost just black and white because they ran out of the color scale. And it's like kind of a purplish hue, I guess you could say. But yeah, there's not much to it. It's just a big blob of fucking hot right over the whole Phoenix metro area. And for the most part, the whole state. I mean, it's been so hot out here this week that a lot of the airlines out here at Sky Harbor actually had to cancel flights. And I kind of knew this was a thing. I didn't realize it was that bad. But the way the city is designed, the city of Phoenix basically sits, and I always talk about being in the valley, but the city sits in the valley, and we're pretty much entirely ringed by different mountains, which means that you have a lot of interesting weather patterns, you could say. If you've ever flown into Denver, I've heard Denver is a really tough city to fly into because it kind of sits in a bowl like that. You have to go straight up and straight down flying in and out. Well, Phoenix is in a very similar situation. Not straight up or straight down, but you've got to go over the mountains. And with all the high heat in the valley, you hit those mountains and the jet stream and you get those crazy thermals. And basically all of the wind and all the weather inside hits the mountains, jets up, and you get these extreme, high heat, high pressure gusts that just fuck you up, and flying in and out of Phoenix is incredibly rough. Well, couple that with temperatures over 120, and suddenly you have planes that can't fly. Because, lesson on how planes work, when temperatures get too hot, the air pressure, the air itself gets lighter. The air gets thinner. Suddenly there's not enough force. The air pressure is so low that the planes can't get any lift. They need to go a lot faster, which means they need more fuel, which means they may not actually be able to take off or sustain their flight. So, they ended up canceling 40-something flights over a few days, over 2 days. I didn't even hear the final count because, the temperatures for that long was, but the first 2 days of this where we were topping 120, they were all of these flights and this, they're canceled. Why? Because they might not be able to take off. It's if temperatures reach 120 today, these planes can't take off. And, it has to do with all the aerodynamic stuff. And hey, the runway's not maybe long enough for them to get enough speed to get lift. Which, hey, you don't have enough runway, you're really screwed. But then there's also kind of they talk about kind of an urban myth, never been confirmed, but about the runways being so hot because it is black asphalt. That the runway is getting so hot that the asphalt softens, and the weight of the planes sink into the asphalt. I don't know, you'd think that it might be like, oh, the rubber on the tires melts and that's kind of crazy. That's not, but the asphalt getting that soft actually happens, and it happens. I've talked about when they repave the roads outside my house. Everything out here is paved in essentially like cooled, like just poured asphalt. It's not, we don't have concrete roads. It's essentially liquid asphalt that is cured. Just kind of the air exposure hardens it. Well, you tack on 4 days of 120 heat, and suddenly that starts softening up. And suddenly when you pull into your driveway, you've got, you're leaving asphalt and you're leaving tar marks on your driveway. And there's kind of grooves developing in the roads and things like this. We'll tack on a plane that weighs 10 tons, or however the fuck much. I don't know how much a plane weighs. But tack on a plane on that same type of surface, that asphalt. I mean, it's going to be a lot thicker and all that than what's on sitting outside my house. But yeah, you add all that in there and all that weight on a similar type of surface, it's still going to get soft. And a lot more weight, it's going to sink. So suddenly you might have grooves in the pavement in the runway. Yeah, that thing. I've said the word multiple times and I just suddenly blanked it. I don't know why. But yeah, your runway isn't long enough, or suddenly your runway is kind of trying to hold on to you a bit. And never mind high heat might actually blow the tires. And I'm sure they have like contingency plans for that. But I actually heard a story where they were talking about like trying to figure out, hey, what, like, can these planes, and checking like the different models, because I mean, there's so many different types of planes and some of the smaller planes and bigger planes and all this. But it's like, are you a 777 or are you a Cessna? Yeah, but they were looking at the charts to see, hey, what are the operating conditions and how much runway do you need and like how fast do you have to be going to take off? And they were a little concerned because they were like, okay, well, our chart doesn't go up as high as the temperature is going to be. No shit. They're like looking at hey, there's the chart, and if the temperature is up to this high, then you need this much runway and you need this much speed to get lift, and the chart stops at 120. Well, on Wednesday, it was 122, I believe. So they were like, theoretically we can take off, but we don't really know. And that's a scary fucking thought. But with that uncertainty, they canceled a lot of smaller planes, like the great big planes, like your big 747s and the really big passenger planes still were able to take off. They've got a higher operating temperature, but a lot of them were like, yeah, we can't operate above 110. We can't go fast enough to get lift above 110. But yeah, crazy. It's just fucking crazy that I couldn't believe that it was that hot. Well, I mean, the hottest day in Phoenix was 122, and I think it was back in 90. I was like 5, 6 years old. I remember it. It was like right after kindergarten. I fucking remember a lot of bullshit. But yeah, I remember there were people, like they were this last week, going out, literally frying eggs on the asphalt, cause you can, because hot black tar it's a lot more than the 120 outside. Yeah, don't touch it barefoot. That's instantly 2nd degree burns. You're blistering, they're popping, and the bottom of your feet are gone. Just staying. But it's funny thinking about that then and then thinking about it now. Like, I have lived through some of the hottest bullshit here. Meanwhile, like I said, Europe is going through a heat wave right now. Now, they don't have 120 degree temperatures, but for, England and France and most of Europe, being like in the 80s is fucking hot. that is completely unheard of for them. And I guess out there, they're having a lot of issues with clothes because of just the formality of things, I guess, and their sort of customs. A lot of places now, again, I'm coming from, southwest of the United States where it's always hot, where shorts are an always kind of thing, where people wear shorts and people go swimming in the winter. Jump over to Europe where it's not really like that. And even when I lived in Texas, shorts were not allowed, like in school. We weren't allowed to wear shorts in school. Jump over to Europe where the culture is so much different. Shorts are just outright, in any sort of official capacity, shorts are no. That's just a big fat no with 10 exclamation points. Well, they're going through heat waves there, and I know like in the northeastern US, they're going through heat waves right now that it's just, they aren't accustomed to that sort of heat. So they're like, hey, we want to wear shorts. It's fucking hot. Well, no. It kind of seems to be the deal. There's actually a prep school in England, and I missed the city because in England the names of a lot of cities have weird names. But there was a big group of boys that, and this is kind of the theme I'm going with here, but because shorts are banned, they're kind of loopholing this, and you couldn't get away with this in the States because everyone litigates the shit out of everything. But they're basically taking the loophole of, boys aren't allowed to wear shorts. Well, the uniform allows skirts. It doesn't specify that it has to be for girls. So, at a prep school in England, around 50 boys chose to come to school wearing skirts to protest the fact that they were not allowed to wear shorts in their school uniform. They're like, nope, it's pants, that's it. Your uniform shirt, your uniform tie, your uniform slacks, and that's it. But the girls were allowed to wear skirts. They were like, well, that's kind of fucked up. The girls are allowed to wear skirts that they have cooling leg space. That's not fair to us guys. Why do we have to sweat it out? And of course, school boards being what they are, they're like, nope, we're not changing this right now. We'll consider it later, but we're not changing this right now. Apparently at the same school, at least one member of the male staff showed up wearing shorts one day, and they're like, you can't wear shorts, go home. So he comes back wearing a skirt as well. And I guess they changed the policy for employees. Like, fine, you can wear, they have to be full knee length shorts, blah, blah, blah. Which I'm fine. I'm a long shorts guy. I'm not like a, these might as well be pants guy, but I'm a shorts to my knee kind of guy. I don't know. But on a similar note, there's actually a group of bus drivers in France who are doing the same thing, who, again, it's all really close. It's all the same weather. They decided, well, they're not going to let us wear shorts. Like, we don't have air conditioning on these buses. We're not equipped for that. The weather's not, we don't need air conditioning on the buses. So it's fucking hot. So we're going to wear the skirt because that's part of, that's an approved uniform. The female drivers get to wear skirts. Well, we can't wear shorts, so we're going to wear the skirt because it's fucking hot. And it's only like, there's a handful of those guys. But it's still just kind of funny that the cultural difference that here shorts are an all the time thing, and over in Europe, it's basically no. I mean, if anybody's seen an AC/DC video, you know that there are, British schools that allow shorts, but it's just kind of a crazy thing, that idea of that their uniform policies are so strict that they don't account for weather changes. They're like, nope, you wear slacks, you wear pants, that's it, no shorts. And I don't wear shorts typically. Really, for me, it's a vacation thing, and I'm not going to work. I'm not running around in my home area. It's usually I'm going to the beach or something. But that's just me. I think it's because I have skinny chicken legs and they don't see a lot of sunlight, so they're pale as fuck. But I really only wear shorts if I'm in a swimming capacity, if I'm going, because yeah, chicken legs, pale chicken legs. But let's see. Oh yeah, I've been talking about the weather all this time, and I realize this whole front part of this is going long, and that I'm spending so much time on the weather, but I got one more weird weather thing before we get into before I take my break. Apparently, researchers with the U.S. Geological Survey, they were kind of doing some adjusting, you could say. I guess they're like kind of updating records and fixing things, and they're like going into the systems and they're doing maintenance, you could say, on their systems and in their records. Well, somewhere in there while they're doing all this, the system kind of glitched and it interpreted the changes they were making in their records to be a current threat and an impending 6.8 earthquake. And because this is 2017, everything is automated. So as soon as the machine pings and has oh shit, there's a 6.8 coming our way, it sends out alerts to media outlets and all these things. It basically just sends out like a big panic. It triggers the emergency broadcast system kind of thing. And it pinged all of the media outlets and sent them this warning of a 6.8 coming. Well, all of the media outlets also have automated systems. So when this alert goes out, all the news stations and the papers and everybody, they all get this ping. It hits their automated systems where their system automatically flips that around, auto formats tweets and articles to just go. I didn't realize that those kind of things happened, that they had systems that would automatically write a report. But yeah, apparently they get a ping from the USGS and immediately it goes ping right up, like says 6.8 earthquake centered here, coming, mass evacuation, blah, blah, blah. And it basically writes it all up and automatically posts it to their website and automatically starts sending out tweets about warning there's a big earthquake coming. The earthquake in question occurred in 1925. Like I said, they were updating records and doing system maintenance, and it thought that this quake that occurred in June of 1925 was coming right now. And everybody lost their shit. Automated everything because everything is automated. Everything is automated. It's like, and it's great. It is funny. It's great that all these systems are automated and interconnected so that as soon as they get a warning, that it goes out to the news outlets, and the news outlets, it automatically goes out to everybody. You're following ABC News LA or whatever, that it pings them and it automatically, you're getting this warning and you're getting the emergency broadcast thing. And it's so that you don't have to wait for somebody to write it. You don't have to wait for a person to do that thing, that the system automatically does it, which is great from a safety standpoint. From a oops, the computer fucked up standpoint, basically the USGS and all the news outlets spent the entire rest of the day doing damage control because they're like, that was an error. There is no earthquake. The earthquake that it picked up happened in 1925. I think you're safe now. And it's like, but yeah, that was kind of where everyone learned the system, I guess you could say. Here's how it works. It goes ping, our system goes ping, it goes blah, and now we've got 20 warnings out there for a quake that happened 90 years ago. But I just thought that was funny. That was like, wow, all because of system maintenance. I think they need to tweak their systems. But yeah, what was funny was that if you actually look at the warning that was sent out by the system originally, it said that the quake was going to strike, or that it was going to happen, I think it said June 29th, 2025. So the systems just took, hey, we just got a warning. Blam, warning, 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 everybody warning. When had the system been smart enough to look at the date that it read, there wouldn't have been any warnings because it's not going to hit for, 8 years, theoretically. This oops, we fucked up Quake wouldn't have hit for 8 more years anyway. So it still shouldn't have been a warning. So I think everybody needs to work on their systems. Hire my brother-in-law. He's a tech guy. He can fix your systems to make you not warn all of California that you're all going to fall into the fucking ocean. I mean, they're all going to fall into the fucking ocean, but not today. All right. That's enough about the weather, I think. I've gone on way too long about the weather. But like I said, it's the fact that the weather has been like this and it's been so much weather news. Like quite funny weather news. So I'm going to take my first little break here and I will be back with some more fun stuff with news about crime.
Here's a few reasons why you should be listening to the Unwritable Rant podcast with host Juliet Miranda. She can tell a great story.
If you can't play dead, play drunk. And it works, I swear.
She interviews celebrities that have great stories.
If we have a cousin that's kind of strange, we don't put him away or tuck him away. We set him on an old dryer out in the front yard with alcohol and let him wave at people.
Right. And then you tell your friends about it.
And she's tolerant and loves kids.
So these kids go running up after the ball, and I stand up and I yell, "Kids die in the street all the time."
So head on over to theunwritablерant.com and listen to the show.
What is the Potter family?
Hey guys, it's Rad Dad Chad,
J Mills, and Lil Man
from the Full of Fiber podcast.
Hey, this is Bro from the World of Row podcast.
Hey, this is Rick from Ice and the Face.
This is Eric Mocker from the Mockers podcast.
This is Cyanide from the Little Geek Lost podcast.
This is Greg from the Sports Stands podcast.
Hey y'all, it's Juliet Miranda from the Unwritable Rant podcast.
This is Nick from the Epic Film Guys podcast.
This is Paul from the Countdown Movie and TV Reviews podcast.
This is Matthew McDonough from the Passersby podcast.
This is Adam from Everyone Has a Podcast.
This is Gareth from the Open All Powers podcast.
This is Knock from the Geek Ogre podcast.
We're Josh and David from the Scotch and Flicks podcast.
We are you, podcasters coming together in a community to help one another grow. So follow us on Twitter at Podern Family and use the hashtag Podern Family in your tweets and retweet other people who do the same. Podern Family, where great podcasts come home.
Bullshit from the news.
First up. Now, I mentioned before that this heat is kind of frying people's brains. Well, if you're gonna get caught, this guy at least got caught in the coolest way. A shoplifter in Fort Worth, Texas was caught by Batman. More accurately, he was caught by a cop dressed as Batman. So I guess this guy was shoplifting DVDs at the Wal-Mart, and he goes through, you're walking out and you go through the little detectors and it beeped. Well, it beeps. The greeter's like, "Hey, can I check your bag?" or whatever. He just keeps going. Well, that day they were having a nice little charity fundraiser thing, and a local police officer who does this sort of thing was there dressed as Batman. And, well, he's right there when Schmucko decides he wants to blow through and go past security. So he just kind of follows him out to his car. and confronts the dude and whatever. And it's like, yeah, he's like, dude, come on, seriously. I'm like, I'm a cop. Now let's be fair. This cop also, he does all these sort of things. He dresses up as different superheroes and different characters and stuff like that. But it's actually kind of funny because for his Batman outfit, he's basically Officer Batman because he has a badge and his police shield like incorporated into part of his Batman outfit. So this is Officer Batman. And so Officer Batman confronts the guy out in the car, cuffs him and all this stuff. And basically just talks him out. It's like, dude, knock this shit off. Come on, seriously. Like, you had to have known there was a cop standing right there. But he writes him a ticket because it's just a couple of DVDs. The funny part of it was that he actually had a copy of Lego Batman. And the cop's like, really? You can't go stealing my movie. But yeah, the guy's just a few DVDs and all that. But since it wasn't a ton of stuff, it wasn't a lot of valuable stuff. He just, wrote him a ticket, called it a day. But the dude actually asked for a selfie with Officer Batman when it was over. So at least it's just funny. Dude got busted by Batman. How many guys can say I got busted for shoplifting by Batman? All right. Moving right along. And again, fried brain cells. Although technically this happened before the summer, but a New Hampshire, the New Hampshire legislature, recently had to amend a law that would have basically given pregnant women a loophole to commit murder. Yeah. So there's a lot of laws and, whatever your particular feelings about the subject of abortion and when is a fetus a person and all those sort of things. But yes, they kind of written their law that defined, like, say there's I'm throwing out a situation, there's like spousal abuse or something. Say guy's hurt, beating his wife or something. She's pregnant and she loses the baby. Or you're a drunk driver, or say car accident, drunk driver, because it's sad enough a drunk driver is a less harsh, dark situation. It's a drunk driver hits a pregnant woman in the car. She loses the baby. The law basically was written to say that if you cause the death of a fetus that is 20 weeks beyond conception, so basically 20-week-old fetus, 20-week-old fetus, 20 weeks or more, then that can be construed as murder. It becomes it's the murder of a fetus. Okay, fine. And it's for those sort of situations where somebody acts on the mom and those actions cause the death of the baby, you can be charged with murder. In the law is a loophole against abortions. Because there's some people that would be like, oh yeah, then every abortion would be murder. Like, they didn't want that in there. They're not taking that road. They're going after the people who cause, people who act outside, who basically act on the mom, other than whatever. Well, they put in the little provision and it said that pregnant mothers seeking abortions cannot be charged with murder. What they forgot to put in there was that they can't be charged with the murder of the fetus. It just said they can't be charged with murder. So, technically speaking, it's a big technicality, but I'm sure there's a lawyer out there that would have tried to exploit it. Technically speaking, a pregnant woman could go on a fucking murder spree and kill an entire mall full of people and not be charged because the law says pregnant women can't be charged with murder. Oh, God. That is the mother of all loopholes. Really. Mother, pregnant. Totally didn't mean that. But yeah, I'm just imagining, like, pregnant woman just shooting up a fucking mall. Not that it's a funny thing that she's shooting up a mall, but the fact that it's like, hey, pregnant mom here, can't touch me. Oh my God, that's a loophole. But they fixed it. And that was kind of the thing, is that they went back and realized, oh shit, this is theoretically a problem. We haven't had this problem yet, but it's theoretically a problem. We should fix it. And so they just went in. I guess there's kind of a process for fixing like typos and spelling errors in laws. And they basically use that to, oops, we forgot to put of the fetus. There, murder of the fetus. So now it's fixed. Now if mom goes on a mall shooting spree, she will get charged with murder, but not if she gets an abortion. So, again, I don't care your perspective on abortion, but yeah, funny laws. Moving right along. CIA contractors hack vending machines for free snacks. Yep. And I'm sure when I said CIA hackers the first time around, you were like, that's the CIA, they're spies, of course there's hackers, duh. Like, nope. These are just a bunch of guys who were like, they were like tech contractors working for the CIA. Well, because they're tech guys, hey, we're in the CIA. They decided they were going to hack the vending machine payment systems. So they basically went in and disconnected the like card readers and all that stuff from their network. So they'd go and everything's got a card reader now. You can swipe your card at the vending machine or whatever, and it doesn't charge you. Basically, it wasn't connecting to the servers. They cut them off. They cut off the payment system so that they could go in and just get fucking free snacks. La 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 la. Like giving you a Snickers and a Doritos and Reese's Cups. Cause those totally go together. And yeah, well, they got away with $3,000 in snacks from hacking the vending machines. Now, really, what is your job at the CIA that you, and this in over like 6 months, they got away with $3,000 in snacks. How many fucking people are doing this? And how the fuck much did this shit cost at the CIA? Now I know I go to a lot of different buildings and snack prices vary wildly. Some places you go and a 12-ounce can of soda is $1, and other places you go and a 12-ounce can is $1.25. So I understand that snack prices vary wildly from location to location, but how the fuck much does a fucking Snickers bar cost at the CIA if they got away with $3,000 in snacks in 6 months? Or how big and how many of these fucking guys are getting away with snacks? Because that's a lot of fucking food. 6 months, 30, that's 180, 180 days. Is that right? Yeah, that sounds right. Give or take. So give or take 180, let's just round it out, say 200 days. 200 days, $3,000. That's a lot of snacks. Every day. Fuck. What's $60 in snacks a day? Cause I can't do math. I don't know. I'm trying to do math in my head live on air. Fuck. That's a lot of fucking, but you're talking about that level of shit. That much. What the hell? I mean, and again, what the hell was their job there? I mean, like, you're working at the CIA. Where do you have the time in your job at the CIA to be A, hacking the vending machines, and B, eating that goddamn much snack food? Really? Naturally, these people all got fired, and the article didn't say anything about them all getting any jail time or getting fined or anything. It just said they all got fired. Or it may just be they were able to say, hey, these guys on this team were responsible, but we don't know who exactly did what and when, so everybody's fired. We can't charge anybody because they're the tech guys. They know how to cover their tracks. Something like that. I don't know. But they got fired. They didn't go to jail. As far as what I could find, they didn't go to jail. But seriously, what the hell? Really? You're so broke? You work for the CIA. I mean, yeah, you're a contractor for the CIA, but you work for the CIA. Do they not pay you? That you have to go stealing all the snacks? Alright. one more crazy crime story. And I don't really know how to describe this, so I'm just gonna say it. A man is assumed dead after attempting to have sex with a crocodile while on a meth binge. Alright, I should have pulled up a fucking sound clip for this and just got the South Park Mr. Mac. Drugs are bad and Clay. Okay, marijuana is bad and Clay. Fuck, dude, what the fuck? So, Australian authorities are looking for a 26-year-old man after his friends said that he was dragged underwater by a crocodile. And said he'd been, like, binging, just gone on, like, a huge meth binge. And apparently this was totally normal for this guy. But he went on a huge meth binge, and then they were, I'm assuming it, like, this wildlife park, cause it's Australia and there's fucking crocodiles and wildlife parks everywhere. So, yeah, and he's like, oh, look, a crocodile. He fucking tries to jump on the crocodile and tries to have sex with the crocodile because, you know, human biology and crocodile biology parts line up. But apparently the crocodile spins around, grabs the guy by his stomach, and drags him underwater. It's safe to assume he's dead, but they haven't found the body. So, if you know anything about crocodile hunting methods and like, or if you've seen Crocodile Dundee, and you're like, yeah, they drag you underwater, they shove you under a rock, they let you kind of tenderize a bit, and they'll eat you later. So in all likelihood, this guy is just, he's probably been eaten by now. I don't know when exactly this happened. But, yeah. Drugs are bad, okay? Fucking meth. And it's meth. Who binges on meth? Fuck. Meth is fucking crazy. I mean, come on, you're talking about a drug that's made from, like, prescription medicine and battery acid and cleaning supplies. Why would you fucking put that in your body? I mean, I don't do drugs at all. I don't smoke weed. Contrary to what my doctors think, I don't do drugs. But I don't understand these, like, these do-it-yourself at-home drug kits. Really. The DIY, drugs. Because, yeah, really, who the fuck decided it was a good idea to make like street drugs out of cleaning supplies and Sudafed? Really? I don't get drugs, but I understand marijuana and cocaine more, even though I'm less cocaine now after I saw a video about how it's made. It's a lot of fucking gasoline to make cocaine. It's another one of those, how did they figure out how to fucking do that? Look at the steps involved in doing this. Like, same thing with meth and a lot of other drugs. It's like, weed makes sense. It's a plant, it grows, you harvest it, you dry it, grind it, it's plant processing. It's basically the same process for marijuana as it is for tobacco in a similar sense. The process for cocaine is fucking crazy. The process for meth and all these other do-it-yourself drugs are fucking crazy. Too much chemical reaction. Too much shit. Again, I don't do drugs. I don't smoke weed, but I understand weed. It's a plant. You smoke it. The end. Drugs shouldn't have petrochemicals in them. I just don't understand that. That's beyond me. But if a drug makes you want to have sex with a crocodile, perhaps his friends should have, I don't know, stopped him. I don't know. That's just kind of my thing. Drugs are bad. Drugs with petrochemicals in them are really bad. Drugs that make you fuck a crocodile are especially bad. Especially when the crocodile was not, cooperative. Alright. Getting away from crime. If you follow the Facebook group, which I have recently renamed, I have a Facebook group. I don't talk about the Facebook group, because I'm bad at self-promotion. But there's a Facebook group. The was recently renamed the Twisted Children of the Odd Dad Out because I needed a better name than the shit it was. But I shared a picture for this woman. This week's Jackass of the Week goes to a white German woman the model by the name of Martina Adams, or professionally Martina Big, who is now, how do I put this, black, big fat air quotes, black, due to chemical tanning. And I didn't know chemical tanning was a thing. You know, when I read chemical tanning, I think that it's one of those people that uses way too much spray tan or too much time in a tanning bed and certain things to make it enhance it or whatever. No. This is a woman who she got shots. She got like melanin shots to enhance her natural skin pigment. It went from hey, I don't tan well, to, so, hey, doc, can you give me something to help me tan better, to, hey, I'm just gonna make you darker from the inside out. That's what happened. And I've got the picture of her posted up in the Facebook group, and of course, in the show notes at odddadout.blogspot.com. But I'm gonna say she unattractive. And now she's kind of, what the fuck? Because again, German. Very super white. Super, super white. Super, super blonde hair. Now, this woman actually was already kind of, big air quotes again, famous. Because she just had ginormous breast implants. I think the last thing, I think I saw a thing where she was bragging about getting another 250 cc's. And again, if you see the pictures, just, what the fuck, woman? Now, and it's a before, a post-op, and then, black. Air quotes. But, she wasn't unattractive. And yeah, I'm a weird guy. I'm not a fan of those just ridiculously huge breast implants. You know, you gotta fit the body. But in her case, it worked fine. She looked good, fine. Now, she's got what looks like a couple of beach balls, and I don't mean that as a joke. It literally looks like a pair of beach balls with her natural, super blonde German hair. And her skin is so dark, it looks like, was it that Soul Man? Was that movie in the 80s where that kid, there was like, oh, they got in so much trouble for that fucking movie, where they had a white kid who became black for I forget what the fuck reason? That's what she looks like. Because still the same white chick, except her skin is just fucking dark. She has the skin pigmentation of a legitimate African-American person, except she's still got pink, like, white German girl lips and super blonde hair. And she's apparently, I guess she just likes being dark, but she says she doesn't want to be African-American. It's like, I'm not changing my race. I just like being dark. Like, what? And she's apparently looking into she likes looking like a black person. That's her thing. She likes, and I think this woman had, body dysmorphia? She spent $60,000 on cosmetic surgery before getting turned black. And I keep saying black. I'm saying black because this is not an African-American woman by whatever. She's not American shit. This is a straight up just German woman. She's black. And that's basically it. You know, that's the defining difference. There's Africans, African Americans, Because those are two fucking different things. I don't care who the fuck you say. Guess what? If you're a black guy in Europe, you're not African American because you're not American. And they don't like that term either. It's a black Englishman. But she's turned black. Or incredibly dark brown. Well, she apparently just likes looking like that. She likes the look of black women. So she has gotten the dark skin, and now she's looking at getting like natural, like afro curl hair extensions and having, because she hasn't had enough surgery already, having cosmetic surgery done on her face to give her more black features. Like, so you were a skinny, smallish chested, not small, but smallish chested white girl, and now you want to become a black girl with beach balls on your chest. That's basically what she's going for. And it just looks horrendous. Never mind the general, man, this is kind of offensive. But you look at her and you just think her look is offensive because she looks like she's painted. She looks like she's painted because she's got all white features. This is like the most extreme form of blackface I've ever seen. She's got all white features. Again, with like, black people, the exterior skin pigmentation is dark. Not hers. She's got big ass pink lips. She looks like a fucking monkey or something. Like literally like a monkey. How chimps have big bright pink lips. That's what she fucking looks like. Check out the pictures. But yeah. At least when she was a blonde white girl with beach balls strapped to her chest, she looked good. She was pretty. Now she's just kind of a monster. She went from a pretty plastic doll to a what the fuck happened to you? This is what happens when you leave the Barbie dolls in the oven. You get her. That's what happened. All right. But I think she absolutely is fitting of the title of Jackass of the Week. Well, I'm going to take one more quick break, and I will be back with this week's featured show, The Crazy Town Podcast.
What's happening with the Mole Man? What's happening to the new man? What's happening with the Mole Man? I don't know the song about the new man.
Hey, it's the new man. If you're looking for a new podcast to check out, why not check out What's Happening with the New Man, with the crazy mad scientists from Australia talking about all sorts of things from gardening to cooking to life at home with your kids. What's Happening with the New Man podcast is the one for you. Check it out now. It's on iTunes, What's Happening with the New Man, also on Podbean and all your social media pipes. Make sure you press the subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. You don't want to miss this hilarious podcast from Australia, What's Happening with the New Man.
Hey there, podcast fans. I'm Matt.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Becky.
And every Tuesday we're getting goofy and geeking out on Pre-Recorded Live.
We talk nerdy news,
movies, comics, and TV.
Video games, music, and potpourri. Wait, what? Potpourri?
Pine cones and dried wood chips and dried flowers and stuff?
No, whatever.
So I could have just said whatever?
I think that's better.
Okay, so let's say video games, music, and whatever.
So check us out online at prereclive.wix.com/podcast, iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or your favorite podcasting app.
Don't worry, guys. I'll let that potpourri part out.
Terrific. Hey guys, it's Joe here from Pre-Recorded Live. Ever notice that we're always using the hashtag Podern Family for all of our stuff that has hashtags? Podern Family is the community of podcasts to support each other and promote each other. And here's the cool part. Now you listeners can search for hashtag Podern Family and connect to hundreds of podcasts. There's so many, you are guaranteed to find something that you like. Or if you don't want to do the searching yourself, you can follow @Podern Family on Twitter and let them retweet the shows to you. So what are you waiting for? Go out and find some podcasts to listen to.
Recommended listening. Okay, so normally I have a clip. I don't have a clip. It's a relatively new show. He's only around at like episode 15, 16 right now. But I was actually turned on to the Crazy Town podcast by the host. He actually reached out to me, just kind of citing the comparisons of the show. I do a lot of weird news stuff. He does a lot of weird news stuff, but he takes it from a very different perspective. Whereas I'm pulling relatively recent stories. He's digging back into historical shit too. I mean, some of it might be, he might have a news story or, hey, did you hear about this thing? He's digging back. He will pull out news stories and weird shit from the past, but his is generally weird shit. He's not really bound by my kind of intent of current weird shit. I mean, he did an entire episode about, it was this woman with trying to teach dolphins to speak human English, and there was a bit about LSD and bestiality, and it got all sorts of fucking crazy. And yeah, it was just a case of, you think it's bad now, just wait a minute. Like, how many steps into hell can we go with this story? Or he didn't, for his 13th episode, he did all things about bad luck. And it was kind of fun. And he's got he'll have different guests come in. Sometimes he's by himself like I am. Or he just needs to make TNT Dynamite his permanent guest or permanent co-host. I mean, the way he kind of does it with a guest host is almost like just inviting an audience into the show. And because he has the stories, here's what we're going to talk about. The guest, which every episode I've listened to, the guest has always been TNT Dynamite, who, he's just damn funny. I'll give it to him. He's got a YouTube channel and all this stuff, but he comes on and he basically is there to react and create conversation. And he's hilarious, but it's basically Jonas telling the stories and going through the news story and going through the stories of this weird shit. And just how much can I freak out TNT Dynamite? Really? Because he has no clue. He does not know what's coming at him when they start rolling. So it's just hey, it's like, so you think that was crazy? How about this? And he's like, oh fuck no. I mean, with the dolphin story, he was like, if she starts fucking the dolphins, I'm gone. I'm hanging up. I'm out of here. Cause he just like, oh, it's gonna get worse. But yeah, I do like the dynamic they have, because it's not they both read it and, oh yeah, man, that was fucked up. I thought that was fucked up too. It's, wait for it. Like, I got some crazy shit for you, dude. And so it's a fun dynamic they have. And he's been on the show so many times at this point. I think he just needs to become a regular co-host. But he actually did reach out to me to look into me joining him on the show in the future. So I think that'll be a fun thing to do. So if it comes about, definitely I will let you know, because it's definitely a show that's right up my alley, obviously. But yeah, you should check it out. If you're digging this show and you like the news and the stuff I do, then you should absolutely check out the Crazy Town podcast at thecrazytown.com. But that is going to do it for me for this week. Thank you so much for making it this far into the show. Remember, you can get all the links to all of the stories I talked about and some pictures of that crazy wannabe black chick at odddadout.blogspot.com. Click on the links right up there to subscribe in Apple Podcast or Google Play, whatever you use. And do me a favor and leave me a review. 5 stars would be great, but I want honesty. And if you hate it, tell me so I can fix it. I can't fix what you don't tell me is broken. Of course, I'm at odddadout on Facebook, Twitter, and Gmail, because everybody uses Gmail. And if you want more of me, because who doesn't want more of me, you can check out the Facebook group, The Twisted Children of the Odd Dad Out. I'll be putting up some other stories, stuff that maybe didn't make the cut, and give you little previews to what's coming up in future shows. And I don't know what else. I'll see what else I'm gonna do. Maybe I'll consider doing some like Facebook Live stuff. I don't know. I keep talking about it. I just don't think I'm that photogenic. But thank you once again, and until next week, I am still Adam Higgins, the Odd Dad Out. Thank you and good night.